Hey, Mr. Pelusio's fifth grade class. Are you ready for a deep dive into gravity? We're going to uncover some seriously cool.
Good evening. Welcome to the May 8th regular meeting of the Rockville Center Board of Education. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Emergency evacuation exits are on either side in the back. Any correspondence that can be posted has been posted. Opportunity for students. Are there any students that would like to address the board this evening before the presentations? Okay, seeing none. Mr. Gavin, Superintendent's report.
Thank you, Madam President. Tonight we'll be discussing the budget, but before we do, I want to briefly outline some of the transportation cost increases that we've been seeing here in Rockville Center. So currently, we've been experiencing an increase in transportation expenditures that is attributed to, in a large part, the governor's proposal to transition all school buses to electric buses by 2033. Other factors are inflationary factors, escalating contractor costs, which is approximately about 4% of the increase based on the Consumer Price Index, and an augmented number of transportation routes necessitated by an influx of students placed in out-of-district special education programs. Further, we've had a 30% rate increase for BOCES transportation services for the 25-26 academic year, which has added somewhat to our financial pressure this year. To address these rising costs, the school district has implemented several mitigation strategies. For new transportation contracts and those not extended by the current provider, the district is participating in a collective bidding process with the Southwestern Quadrant of Nassau County School Districts. Furthermore, an analysis of existing busing routes and BOCES routes, including transportation to the career technical programs, revealed an opportunity to secure more favorable rates, which has resulted in a potential savings of $150,000 to $200,000 for next year. This approach is advantageous compared with the per-seat cost structure associated with busing contracts. Currently, an evaluation of in-district ridership is underway as well to ascertain the feasibility of route consolidation. While this could generate savings of approximately $100,000 per bus eliminated, it may result in some increased student density per bus, potentially expanding some travel times and more stops. But we have been working on trying to make sure that our transportation costs are mitigated with these active strategies. So I just wanted to add that before we went into the transportation, before we went into the budget hearing. Now, some more exciting news and cooler news. We have some exciting results from our boys and girls varsity track and field divisional championships at Hewlett High School. Congratulations to our girls team for finishing in second place. Congratulations also to the following athletes who are either division champions in their event or earned all division honors. Victoria Daniel, division champion in the 100-meter hurdles and 4x100 relay. Fayola Allison, all division 1,500 meters and 800 meters. Maeve Naraki, all division 1,500 meters and 300 meters. 3,000 meters. Amelia McLaughlin, all division 400-meter hurdles. Kayla McCrae, all division long jump. Vanity Gaither, all division 200 meters and division champ 4x100 meter relay. Ashley Mata, division champ 4x100 meter relay. Naila Singh, division champ 4x100 meter relay. Brendan Fitzpatrick, division champ 400 meter hurdles. Edward Rodriguez, division champ high jump. Justin Singh, all division boys 100 meters. Amazing job by all the coaches and athletes. Way to go Cyclones. And this is hot off the press this morning. Please join me in congratulating Southside High School senior Connor Stack for his nomination for the 2025 Outstanding Performer Award. The Roger Rees Awards recognize outstanding achievement in high school musical theater programs in the greater New York area. Connor was nominated for his portrayal of Joseph Pulitzer in the recent production of Newsies. Moving forward, Connor will participate in an intensive Roger Rees Award weekend featuring rehearsals and coaching with Broadway professionals. This culminates in the Roger Rees Award Showcase, where all 50 nominees perform ensemble pieces and finalists present solo performances before a panel of Broadway industry judges. By the end of the Roger Rees Award Showcase, 2 students are announced as the Outstanding Performer Award winners. These individuals then represent greater New York area at the National High School Musical Theater Awards, which are known as the Jimmy Awards. This is like the first time we've gotten somebody to this level. So we are super proud of Connor. And if you see him, please wish him well in his upcoming showcase. So congratulations, Connor. That is my beginning of the report now, Madam President, but we do have some special guests here tonight to walk us through some exciting developments.
Great.
So I would like to welcome Mr. Guy Accardi and his team of both students and teachers and administrators who will be talking to us about some of the exciting opportunities our students have co-created with us in the world of artificial intelligence. Mr. Accardi.
Thank you so much for having us today. We're super excited to be able to present what we've been doing in our classrooms. Here's a list of some terms that relate to AI that you may be able to take a look at, educate yourselves a little bit. I'm not going to go through this whole process. It is here on the presentation for you guys to refer back to it. So the first thing I want to talk about is artificial intelligence. We've all heard about it, AI. It's a very broad term. AI is often used for many things that we look at, but AI is more than just artificial intelligence. There's many branches that go off from artificial intelligence that we use in our classroom. So NASA refers to artificial intelligence as computer systems that can perform complex tasks normally done by human reasoning, decision-making, creating, etc. What we do in our classrooms, though, is a little different. We use what's called generative AI. IBM refers to generative AI as deep learning models that can generate high-quality text, images, and other context based off of data, on data. What's important for us to talk about here is how we're using AI in our classrooms, the ethical use of it. It's a lot of people, especially that this has come out, are really scared of what's going on with AI. So we're very cognizant of what we're doing with AI in the classrooms to make sure that we're aware of those concerns. First thing that we've looked at is safety. We want to make sure that our data is secure, that there's no concerns about that getting out there, that we're using it ethically, responsibly, making sure that the students have access to age-appropriate material. And then lastly, arguably most importantly, we don't want AI to be a replacement of thinking. It's important for us to use artificial intelligence as a tool to enhance student learning. And with that, I'd like to introduce Mr. Duffy up to speak on behalf of the elementary school. We have some students here, some teachers here to talk about what they're doing in the classroom. Mr. Duffy.
Thank you. Thank you, Guy, and thank you to the Board of Ed for having me. I'm going to be speaking tonight about how we are and how we can be using AI in our elementary schools. As with most of our technology initiatives, the Stellar team and the Stellar program is at the forefront of some of the things that we've been trying to do. They've been exploring different possibilities of using AI, different AI platforms, different AI experiences that students can use to enhance their outcomes and to enhance their experiences in the classroom and with our teacher lessons. You can go to the next slide. We're trying to use AI across all 5 buildings. Oh, I got it. Oh, you got it. Across all 5 buildings and across all content. So see if we could use AI and how we could use AI for reading, writing, social studies, and science. And tonight you're going to hear about a few of those platforms and a few of those experiences that our students have been exposed to and get a sense of how we can and will be using AI at the elementary level in a very safe and a very controlled way. One of the platforms that our teachers were already familiar with was Kidoyo. That's the platform that we've used for coding and for hackathons. So they also have a component of AI built into Kidoyo, and that's one platform that we've used with great success. One of the things we really like about Kidoyo is that it is closed AI. That means we can control the content, we can control the experience, we can control what kids can and more importantly can't do with AI. That means that students would not be able to just say, AI, write my paper, but we're writing the code for the AI, we're prompting it so that we can decide how far the students can take AI, what kind of feedback it would give back, what grade level that feedback would come to them. AI could be used as a coach. It could look to edit and revise some student work and give feedback on that. So that's exciting for us. Teachers can monitor those interactions. So you can see what did the student put in, what did the AI give back. That could be sent to the teacher, that could be printed. We could also decide when AI would be appropriate to be used by the student and when we can turn it off at a click of a button. So that's one of the platforms that we're using. Students already, through the Stellar program, have been doing some prompt engineering. We've been using AI as story starters. We've been using AI for image generation. We've been using AI for fictional character creation of DATs and interactions, and you'll hear a little bit today later on about how we used AI to create historical characters that students can interact with. At this point, I'd like to bring up Mr. Pelucio and two of his students. Mr. Pelucio is a 5th grade teacher at Wilson, and he's going to talk about some of the experiences that his students have had using AI in the classroom. Thank you, Mr. Pelucio.
Thank you for having us this evening. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Joseph Pelucio, and I'm a 5th grade teacher at Wilson Elementary School. Tonight I've brought two wonderful students with me, Sadie and Jack, and they're going to talk to you a little bit later about how we're using it in the classroom. Over the past year, I've experimented with several AI platforms in my class. One platform that I've had great success with, and my class has really enjoyed, is Notebook LM. I would have to say that it's probably one of the most valuable resources I've ever used in my classroom over the past 20-plus years I've been teaching here in Rockville Center. It takes the content area curriculum to an entirely new level. It truly broadens my teaching and has opened up so many positive opportunities for my students. So as you see here, this is an example of one page from Notebook LM. This is controls of the content. Great, great, great resource. It allows me to control the content so it perfectly matches what is being taught in my classroom. It isn't random content from unverified internet resources. In the middle is where I can specify the content that I want it to draw from these resources. It customizes the content so I can generate material for the students in seconds. I can prompt the AI to create the resources I need to match the curriculum, which is a great plus. It provides students with valuable resources that connect the classroom content and lessons, such as quizzes, study guides, vocabulary review, and most importantly, on the right-hand side, that's where you'd see like the quizzes and whatnot, a podcast that's created for the students based on the curriculum and based on the content I'd like to give them. So right now, I'd like to just show you, or you can listen to, an example of a podcast that I've created in my classroom, and I specifically engineered this towards one particular thing.
Hey, Mr. Pelucio's 5th grade class. Are you ready for a deep dive into gravity? We're going to uncover some seriously cool facts about this force that, keeps our feet on the ground.
Yeah, it's like an invisible superpower that affects everything in the universe.
So that's an example of going on and on, following my curriculum, or our curriculum, here in Rockville Center. All my students embrace this and find amazing value in it. Tonight, again, I brought two students with me, Jack and Sadie, and they're going to speak to you a little bit about their experiences using Notebook LM. And here's Sadie first.
Hi, sorry. Hi, my name is Sadie Sharon, and I think Notebook LM is a great way to learn at a whole new level. Notebook LM is a podcast that states facts in a way that makes it feel like being in a fun conversation. Because of the conversation, it helps me remember what Mr. Pelucio has taught me, and it also teaches us new material that we may have not been taught. It also helps me with note-taking when we're listening. These podcasts are different from other studying techniques because they give you a great chance to hear new facts. I think Notebook LM is a great technique for developing a deeper understanding on topics Mr. Pelucio teaches us.
Good evening. My name is Jack Gaffar. Notebook LM is an AI website that Mr. Pelucio uses in our classroom, and all the students really enjoy it. Notebook LM turns videos and websites into a podcast for teaching the students in his classroom. It helps by organizing teaching resources and makes learning deeper and more fun. Notebook LM helped me by organizing my studies and getting deeper into all subjects. Overall, I think Notebook LM should be used by all teachers in our district. When Mr. Pelucio uses Notebook LM, I can feel myself getting smarter and I'm learning at a whole new level. I really enjoy when Mr. Pelucio uses it. Have a nice evening.
Thank you. That was great. So we're talking about using AI in a safe, controlled way and to help boost student creativity. So up on the board, I'm going to talk about a project that was done at the kindergarten level using AI. And through the Stellar and with a classroom teacher, they were doing a lesson study on Eric Carle, an author study. They studied Eric Carle, they studied his stories, they studied his style, they studied his illustration style. And then the students, the teacher wrote an AI agent that would take student ideas and put it into the style of Eric Carle. So the students came up with the characters, the students came up with side characters, the students came up with the setting, they came up with a plot, they came up with, more of like a problem solution. They put that into the AI agent, and it came back with a story with the students' ideas in the style of Eric Carle, and then the students did an art project around that to illustrate their own AI-generated stories. So student ideas, student content, and the help of AI, even at a young level in kindergarten. We've done something similar in third grade, only they created their own stories, and then they used AI text-to-image generator to generate the pictures that would flow along with their story. So that's just some ways that we could use AI to boost creativity with some younger students. Now I'm going to call up two other fifth grade students from Mrs. Bartolo's class, Grace and Emma, who are going to talk about an exciting project that they did in social studies. Come on up, girls.
Good evening. My name is Emma, and this is my friend Grace. Tonight I will be talking about an AI DAT that we created together using Kidoyo. A DAT is an AI assistant that you can program and prompt to do a task or anything you would like.
The project we have been working on is to take a historical figure and create a DAT that you can interact with and talk to. The DAT would act like the historical person. We prompted the AI ourselves to make ours act like Amelia Earhart.
We named it and made a description and then created a greeting to get started. Then we had to prompt the AI to make it act like Amelia Earhart. We prompted the AI by typing in important things about Amelia and tried to make it and talk back to us in her own voice.
The hardest part of the project was prompting the AI. You need specific and accurate wording or it won't do exactly what you want it to do. You need to practice and try it out and edit and revise it to make it better.
The part I liked the most was communicating with the DAT to see how it worked and responded to my questions and thoughts. We both also like to use AI to generate pictures. That is really fun. We also added an AI-generated picture to our project.
Using AI was useful because it's unique and customized. It makes projects more creative and interactive. You can interact with it and ask it your own questions and control your own learning. It lets us use technology in a fun way. It's cool to know that kids made it and prompted the AI themselves.
Next, we would like to prompt AI to make a video of something. Right now, we are able to make an image. Next, we would like to start making AI DATs to write music lyrics too.
This is the AI that we did. Wait a second. This is the AI that we did not have enough details in the prompts. So it looks like Amelia Earhart is bungee jumping out of the plane. And then the other paper that you will get is the AI where we revised the prompt so that it's more realistic and it doesn't look like she's bungee jumping out of a plane.
And you couldn't use her name, correct?
Oh yeah, and you can't use your name. It will make you start over.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Emma and Grace, Jack and Sadie. Wonderful job, Mr. Pelucio. Mr. Duffy, thank you so much. I'd like to introduce now, we have the middle school. We have Mr. Flynn and we have Mr. Duggan going to come up and talk a little bit about what we're doing in the middle school.
Oh my God. That's a tough act to follow. Oh my God. Okay. So good evening, Madam President and esteemed board members. My name is Patrick Duggan, social studies teacher at Southside Middle School, and I'll be speaking on the middle school behalf and how we're using it in these classes. This year, our Spanish and French teachers collaborated with our library and media specialists to develop interactive lessons which enhances student engagement and vocabulary acquisition through Kidoyo and DAT using specific unit vocabulary. Long story short, students participated in a test mode where they were quizzed with questions presented in targeted languages, and such translations fill in the blanks or multiple choice questions. This program AI functionally adjusted the rigor of the questions based on each student's progress, ensuring personalized learning experiences for all learners, which is incredible. Then it engaged in also many of our FACS classes and our home and career classes, and also our Spanish and French classes. Students are engaging in Canva Dream Lab, where students were tasked with reading student Spanish profile and deducing characteristics such as personal traits, physical appearance, likes and dislikes. They used the Dream Labs, and students created visual representations of the students, fostering creativity along language skills. Lastly, we're seeing it in the middle school with research. We programmed DATs to focus students' research on national parks and making really, really cool menus outside our home and career facts. If you guys would love to join this amazing Waffle House, it's very, very enticing. Lastly, I get to speak about my favorite class that I get to teach. I get to teach a class called Inquiry Class. It's designed for awesome 8th grade students. This course is not just about learning, it's about empowering our students to become critical thinkers and inquiries in a world increasingly shaped by artificial intelligence. This past year, our students have looked at multiple AIs and have evaluated them through different lenses. These lenses allowed students to look at the potential benefits and downsides of AI, and they got to look in through multiple lenses, such as research and gathering information, writing, personalized learning, creative expression, and accessibility and support for all learners. Students have also been able to meet and interview leaders and creative developers in the field from Codoyo and Adobe. So we got to meet, this was really cool, we got to meet my sister and her team, this was, I know, really cool, that they got to teach us about Firefly and Photoshop. And these amazing students question their ethical considerations and how we can help students for the future. This inquiry class is more than just a course. It's a foundation for our students' future. By equipping them with skills to navigate the complexities of AI while maintaining a critical and ethical perspective. We're preparing them not just for academic success, but for leadership for the world where humanity and machines are increasingly coexisting. Tonight, you will hear from one of our students, Aviana Milter, where she will discuss her ethical considerations for AI and her DAT that she created for research for middle schoolers.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Aviana Milter, and I am an 8th grade student at Southside Middle School. I'm a part of the Inquiry class. In this class, we have explored the ethical considerations of using generative AI and how it might affect middle schoolers. Throughout each quarter, we've looked at the positives and the negatives of AI and the boundaries teachers have to put in place to keep students safe and to have them use AI to the best of their abilities. In the third quarter, I was prompted to investigate the positives and negatives of using AI through creative writing and research projects as well. Here on the slide are my overall ethical considerations of AI. So I personally think that AI should be used as a walking stick instead of a shortcut. It can be used in the classroom as a way to generate ideas or help get further understanding into a topic. Asking AI for answers can lead to harm for the student's learning and capability farther down the road. When it comes to writing, I truly believe it should be used as a tool to help students in the process of writing. I have done this by creating my own DAT that helps students navigate through tough research questions. Overall, this class has taught me the harm versus the benefit of AI and how we have to continue to question it throughout the future to make sure that everyone is safe while using AI.
Good evening, I'm Mike Flynn. I'm an 8th grade social studies teacher, and I have the privilege of working with Pat in the inquiry classroom as well. Come on up, Mackenzie. So I'm also the facilitator of social studies department at the middle school. And, just over a year ago, Pat, I, and Nick Ricardos, the other 8th grade social studies teacher, were asked by Mr. Gavin to go to training in Codoyo. I'm like, what is Codoyo? Some context, I'm an anthropology student. I used to take courses on prehistoric hunters and gatherers and primitive technology. The fact that I'm standing here now talking about AI is quite mind-blowing. Never thought I'd be on board. Mr. Gavin, you showed me the way. I'm on board. And the train is certainly rolling down the tracks now, as you can see, here in Rockville Center. So thank you for that guidance. Because technology, whether it be a hand axe or artificial intelligence, is something that hopefully can be used to better humanity and the experiences of life on this great planet. Primarily in the middle school and in social studies, we're just going to talk about a couple examples of the way we're using it. As you've heard, as a writing feedback model, it is outstanding in the sense that students can receive immediate, actionable feedback on their writing so they can make edits and revisions in the writing process. Whereas it used to take us teachers to grade 90 essays and provide meaningful feedback a couple of weeks, students now get that feedback in a couple of seconds. They could then take that feedback, apply it to their writing, edit and revise, and sure, they care about the improvement in their score, but more importantly, they're getting super constructive feedback that is going to make them better writers no matter what they're writing about. We've created DATs to assist them with evidence-based claim paragraphs, with enjoying issue essays that is going to help prepare them for the global regions later on down the road. Our 7th grade social studies teachers have used the Canva platform and the Dream Lab to create like cool movie posters about, let's say, westward expansion and a Donner Party, where they write a summary about the events, and then they prompt it to create an image that represents the struggles that these people faced. The one that the teacher shared with me, what was it called? It was called Frozen Betrayal, the Donner Party. Yeah, it's just amazing, and it makes it real. When the students are engineering this stuff, it's so interactive, and they're so completely engaged. I would like to pass it off now to wonderful Mackenzie Dunphy. She's in my 4th period class, a wonderful student, and she's going to speak to how AI and some of the DATs that we've created in Canva has assisted in the writing process as well as the creative process. Writing, again, I mentioned the enjoying issue essay, evidence-based claim paragraphs, but we did we did an inquiry into the Harlem Renaissance, and we used an AI DAT that we created called RVC Renaissance that helped the students decipher the meaning behind Harlem Renaissance paintings, song lyrics, and poems. Then they used another one after doing a personal inventory sheet, and our concepts here were cultural expression and personal identity. And this is what the Harlem Renaissance artists and writers were expressing. So students were prompted through a worksheet to think about and reflect about their own identities. After they did that, they then prompted these DATs to create poems about their personal and cultural identity, song lyrics, and then they used the Canva platform to create images, not quite the painting, but nonetheless, they engineered images that represent who they are, just like these artists did as well. So Mackenzie, you could speak to all of that. Thank you very much. You're awesome.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'd first like to thank you all for the opportunity to speak here today about AI. In social studies class, we've been using AI through Kadoyo to help with feedback from our writing assignments. First off, we've been using it for our enduring issue essays. For this, a teacher created DATs in Kadoyo, which gave students immediate feedback that we used to improve our writing and revise. To do so, we plugged in our rough drafts to the DAT. It gave us great feedback through a rubric that was implemented into the DAT by teachers. With this feedback, it helped me and my fellow classmates revise our work through key points and achieve a higher grade. Through this form of AI, it allowed more writing practice to occur because of the speed at which the feedback was given. Up here, we have all of the things we've created through AI, but we'll move on to that later. While there are many pros to the AI we use, it has its cons as well. Feedback is not always accurate and would be corrected by a teacher. However, the prompting that was put into AI could improve. For example, many students had issues with their thesis statements, which were written and given to the students from teachers. To improve this, we can tell the DAT to ignore any mistakes in the thesis statements. Overall, this AI, used to help with our essays, are very accurate and helpful to myself and the students in social studies. Now moving on to this creative process, is another way we use AI in social studies class. In February, we learned about the Harlem Renaissance, in which the people expressed their culture and personal identity in different ways. Based off of this, we were asked to create a poem, song, and digital image of ourselves using the prompted DAT in the Canva Dream Lab, which is what this is. For the poem and song, students plugged in reflections of their personal identity into the DAT. For me, this was very accurate and described me and my interests very well. For the digital image, students used the same reflection and plugged that into the Canva Dream Lab AI. In my opinion, it was not the most accurate. As you can see, that looks nothing like me. While the image wasn't very accurate, it was mainly issues with prompting the AI. The prompts did not include what each of us looked like, only our personal identity, interest, and culture. While using our physical appearance could really, using our physical appearance could really improve what the image could look like. I would say that the Canva AI is accurate only if you prompt it with precise information. However, overall, it's a pretty accurate AI. In conclusion, both the DAT and Canva Dreamlab AI are accurate forms of AI that helped us as students to improve our writing and exploit our creativeness in 8th grade social studies. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you very much. I don't even know what to say. Mr. Flynn, Mr. Duggan, students, Aviana, Mackenzie, wonderful job. I'd like to now bring up Mr. Gamache and Mr. Bennett to talk about what we've been doing in the high school.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. My name is Christopher Bennett. I'm a mathematics and computer science teacher at Southside High School. I'd also like to thank Mr. Gavin for the opportunity to be teaching prompt engineering this year. I will admit I did not know where to start, so I went to ChatGPT and figured it out that way, despite my background in computer science. So I don't have any students here tonight. They get a little bit easier as they get into high school, I guess. They have their IB exams going on. I did have 2 students who were volunteering for the Cyclone Snapshot for Southside High School. So I had 2 students go on and speak with Dr. Walsh about their experience so far in the prompt engineering class. They had about a 7-minute segment talking about what they've been doing, what they're enjoying about it, and how they've been using it outside of class as well in terms of their other classes or just their personal life. So that is something that is available on our YouTube pages. In terms of our content for the class, before I dive into what's on the screen, I knew I wanted to start off talking about kind of the ethics about it. So that was something that was important to me as well, somebody who is a little bit more on the reserved side for technology. But I also wanted to get into understanding like what is all of AI in general, not just what is prompt engineering with what we're using in ChatGPT. So I wanted to kind of get that instilled. So first week, students are a bit reluctant and be like, oh my gosh, why are I learning about ethics? I know about all of this. And then as we got into the machine learning, they started to realize like, oh, like this is why I need to understand the ethics. Because just because we can do it doesn't mean we should do it. So we got into the machine learning. We talked as well about computer vision and natural language processing, which are some versions of machine learning. They just go into like the linguistics or the kind of picture part of it. We then got into our unit 3, which was actually working with the generative AI. And on the first day, they had 4 different images. One of the examples is up there, and they were prompted to just do 1 written response to be able to try and reproduce the image that they saw. So I have an example up there of one of the students' works. We then tied it into what we did in the previous unit. So in unit 2, students were working with a Google application called Teachable Machine, which is a computer vision machine learning application where you can provide it with pictures, and it will determine whether or not your image matches your data set. So they were able to then take the pictures that they generated in class in unit 3, pass it into a model that I had created, and they were able to see how well they matched. So originally, the picture in the top right, which is the students, that wasn't their original one. Their original one only had like a 5% pass. They were then able to see like, oh, I need to improve this. So they went back, they refined their prompt, and then they were able to get it to a much higher score. So some students were going from like the really low, like 1%, 2% passing, and being able to bring that up into the 50 to 60% passing. So that was just our kind of understanding of like how to use that machine learning to help with our generative prompts as well. We then also talked about kind of like, again, with the ethics, why this is kind of dangerous sometimes to careers. So we did look at how this affects the arts, how it affects the music careers. But we did in our unit 3 look at a project where they had to use prompt engineering to generate a kid's book, to be able to generate a story that they wanted to be able to share, and to use the Canva Dreamlabs to generate pictures that they were going to use in their picture book. So originally for this project, they were first given the responsibility of generating the story, revising the story, and then making sure they were happy with the content for that, and then also putting it into a format for a kid's book. So we had a lot of people actually have it split up as like page 1, page 2, page 3. Then from there, they had to use the Canva Dreamlab to actually get each of the pictures for every single page that they were making with that, to be able to kind of say, okay, this is now what I would share with a kid. A lot of them, it was nice. I didn't even have to like let them know, like, look, we can't be doing this to actual artists. They were realizing I would never want this actually published because they were looking at the images going, there were some dogs that had like 6 legs in them. The surfboard there has this weird lip on the front of it. And they're like, yes, this is nice. It's a good prototype. But they were like, this is definitely not something I'd want to release publicly and try and get money off this, which was a great thing to see that they were understanding, yes, we can do it, but we shouldn't necessarily do it. So this was our project 3. In unit 4, we've now been getting into actually creating our own agents. So students have been able to kind of make their agents instead of having agents provided for them. So I have some examples of what we were doing for our projects. In unit 2, I had created agents for them that allow them to explore machine learning, where they had to try and get the agent to learn what pattern they were giving it. For unit 4, they had to try and recreate that project. So I said, hey, go back to this project we did in unit 2. You're now responsible for making your own version of it from scratch. So they had to make up the rules on their own, refine it, and then go through and see if it was working or not. I then also had some students that said, now that I have this, they're like, can you give us the ability? Originally, they were only able to make 3 agents, so they were kind of running out. And then I had some students like, can we make more? And I said, yeah, sure, that's fine. And I had many students go and start making their own personal tutors for their IB exams coming up. And I would just log in one day and see like 5 different DATs that were like IB Math, IB English. And I was like, oh my goodness, like my students are taking this and just using it in their own personal life, which was amazing to see. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Keith Gamache, and I'm a visual arts and computer science teacher here at Southside High School. And as the last teacher presenting, I really became overwhelmed by this feeling that I'm obsolete at this point. Elementary school students are generating images that are actually, incredibly sophisticated. And it's easy to leave kind of feeling that. And I think that's a fear that we all have about AI. I do think at a certain point, AI art will be an acceptable type of art, but we're not quite there yet. Just like once upon a time, there was this thing called a camera that all of a sudden captured reality, and artists had to question what is their role now with paint and canvas when there's a means of mechanical reproduction. So I just want to share some of the ways that I've started using AI with my students. Particularly this right here is an example from my sculpture and ceramics class. Over the years, I've done projects where my students, usually involving literature, where they have to create a portrait bust or a figure sculpture about their favorite fictional character. And in the past, if, say, a student chose Piggy from Lord of the Flies, they would do some research, find some pictures. Another one of my favorites is Jay Gatsby. And if I get portrait busts of Jay Gatsby's, I get a bunch of people trying to sculpt Leonardo DiCaprio. So with AI, the thing that I like is I can start with a written prompt. And I had my students develop their prompts, do a Google search for written description of this character. If you can find the actual text from the book, that's even better. They fed it into the Canva AI, and they got these different images. You can see it's still not perfect. The small one on the right, if you see closely, Piggy was interpreted as having very pig-like characteristics. You see the snout of a pig, you see pointy ears. So the way AI interprets things, you're not always going to get your desired result. So having to refine that prompt, as we heard some of the other earlier speakers share, that is part of both the joy and the frustration of working with it. Okay. In my IB art class, I created BrainstormBot, which is a means for students to add their interests into the AI, let it know what artists do they already like, what styles do they like, what subject matter, and then the AI will give them back responses and suggestions on different artists that they could look at. So rather than a kid just doing a Google search, I like landscapes, and getting all these things that might not actually have to do with things that they really like, this really helps to hone it in and get it to be more specific. More recently, I made the comparative study assistant for my IB Art Year 1 students to help them come up with their theme for their comparative study. Again, it's a DAT that allows them to let the AI know. And the parameters were they had to give at least one artist and work of art that they were interested in, explain their interest in it, and then ask for suggestions back. And then the students too, accountability-wise, would have to show me evidence that they followed up looking at those images and then choosing ones and developing their plan and their introduction. Then in my AP-CSP class this year, we're preparing for the AP exam, which is next Thursday. The free response questions are very difficult to review with students because the free response questions are based on programs that they each individually wrote. So all of the answers are going to be different. And last year, I just had to give the kids kind of general guidelines, or these are some ways you can approach using it. This year, I had my students write their own responses during the first 20 minutes of class. And then the last 20 minutes of class, I let them access the AI. And I said, best thing, feed your response in and ask, is this a good response for this question? If you're really struggling, input your code, input the question, and ask for some recommendations on ways to answer it. So just as Mr. Bennett said, he found his students going ahead and creating their own tutors. I had made this tutor for them. And then once the AI or the AP exam is over, I created a code collaborator. So probably a month or so ago, there was an article in the New York Times about something called vibe coding. And there are programs now that are created where if you have an idea for a program, you can just talk back and forth in real language with this program, and it will create a program for you. And the example in the New York Times article was this guy who needed help making healthy lunches for his kids. And the program that he created allows you to take your camera, open up your refrigerator doors, take a picture of your refrigerator, and it would give back 4 different possible meals based on that photograph. And this is a person who has no coding experience, but has an idea. And this is where things are going. So this code collaborator, I've programmed it, which is really just giving it real language prompts as well, to use the programming language Python in the Carnegie Mellon University platform. And after the AP exam, my students will do their own vibe coding to see what kind of more complex programs they're able to create. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bennett. Mr. Gamache.
Oh, sorry. Oh. One more thing, I forgot. It's just like, see, and this is the way it, okay. So there are just everyday things that happen. And the thing that I want to illustrate here, I'm doing a traditional art lesson with my students, showing them a video on art history, and this image here came up during the video. And one of my students saw that, and you can see her response highlighted. I honestly thought that this had some sort of AI in it before I read the date. So I am impressed that it was a set made by an artist. So when she saw 1981 as the date, which one I was just really impressed because a lot of my students don't read the labels very well, but she saw 1981, thought it was AI, and then, wait a minute, that's not possible. So then she and I had a conversation. I said, what if you write a description and try to get an AI to recreate that image? And then this is her written description, the original photograph by Sandy Skoglund, and then the image that she was able to get it to create. And it just leaves a lot of different ways for the kids to be creative. And we can see from stuff like this that because it's here, it is on the minds of kids, and they're interested in learning how to use it more effectively and what it actually means in their world. So that is actually my last slide, and thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bennett and Mr. Gamache. Wonderful stuff. So the question raises why? Why are we doing all this? So here's a graphic to take a look at, and this is telling us the time it takes for these different platforms to reach 100 million users. And you can see at the top there is ChatGPT at 2 months. It took Netflix 18 years. It took Facebook 4.5 years. It took Instagram 2.5 years. There's only one other platform that is higher than GPT, and that's Instagram Threads. Interestingly enough, the research has said that as time has gone on, Instagram Threads usage has dropped. It's decreased over time. The next graphic shows us, wrong. The exact opposite is with ChatGPT. The amount of traffic that ChatGPT receives each month has exponentially increased in less than 3 years. We've gone from 0.2 billion hits per month to 4.5 billion per month in less than 3 years. That's why we're doing this. This is technology that is going to shape our students' lives. It's something that's important, and we feel that we have an obligation and a duty to give them the tools they need to use it properly. Just to talk about some of the things that we've been doing over the years, some of the accomplishments that we've made, we're leading the charge with this. We have districts coming to visit our classrooms, coming to the elementary schools, to the middle schools, to the high schools to see what we're doing. They are in awe. I've been in pilots, Mr. Duffy's been in pilots where they are standing around us listening to what we're doing. We are leading the charge. Kidoyo, we are providing guidance and development to help them with their plots, their pilots that they're using with other districts. Moving forward, we're looking to take AI to statewide conferences and have presentations on that with administration and teachers, and continue using to learn how to incorporate AI into our classrooms. Thank you very much.
Oh, dear.
I could. I don't know if it would help us out, though. It's not linked to the network.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
First, I'd like to thank, on behalf of the board, Sadie, Jack, Grace, Emma, Aviana, and Mackenzie for being here tonight and sharing your experiences. There's nothing that we love more than students being here and sharing your experiences from your classrooms and your teachers with us. So thank you for being here. All of the teachers that shared their experiences as well. Your passion is clear, and I know this was an area, well, to say it's an area of focus for Mr. Gavin, I think is an understatement. But, it's nice to see that energy and that focus on creativity has really spiraled across the districts from grades K to 12. Just this presentation alone is just a snapshot of what's happening, I'm sure. I know that to be true as well. So just the creativity, focus on inquiry, metacognition, the transfer and application of skills. I mean, to quote you, Mr. Carty, wow, I don't really have anything else to say, but thank you. Questions or comments from board members?
Thank you. It's so exciting and innovative what we're doing in this space, and it's such a contrast from my perspective from what I hear at our English department meetings at the college where I teach, because there is a very different vibe about ChatGPT and sort of AI-generated text replacing human thinking and replacing student work, that to separate that fear, I think, and look at the creative possibilities and the inspiration that comes with it. And maybe part of it is because it sort of seemed to land at the same time for students and teachers, and we're all muddling through and figuring it out. But I have to give you so much credit, because that's the scary position to be in as a teacher, to know that your students could know more than you about this and to plow ahead anyway, because there's no way around this. There's only going through it. And so I really think that the bravery, honestly, and the creativity that you've expressed and that your students certainly see too, because it's a collaboration. There's no way for us to say this is this and that's that. You've got to all work together, because I 100% learned from our students today. You absolutely taught so many of the grown-ups in this room something that we can't thank you enough, because it's really, that's what we're here for. You know, it reminds us we're not preparing you for our future. It's your future, right? And you're going to be not just using these tools, you're going to be making them. You've got students in our AP computer science classes, so you'll be making the back end of how these things work. And so I don't know if any of the students want to, this is totally optional, but if there was anything that you wanted to maybe think about, either like what was the most fun part of working with the AI, or is there something that we should think about as a school district that we should also maybe consider? You can think about that if you want to. You don't have to answer it right now, but if you want to just let us know, and if you want to come to the mic, that's fine, but like what was fun about it, and do you have any other ideas? Because we're definitely learning from you, so if you want to, that's there. In the interim, one of the other questions that I'm thinking about is, and maybe anyone who wants to take this, Mr. Duggan, you made me think of it when you were talking about student input and output, right? So as a writing teacher, as an English teacher, I think there's value to the process of writing, right? That it's not easy, but I might not know what I think about something until I have to write it down. And that's the sort of human element that I want to make sure is still happening. So if anyone wants to speak to that, about how we just let students know that there's still a writing process and that it's more than just an exercise in input this prompt, output is here, copy, paste, submit, right?
So in the middle school, to answer your question, Ms. Downing, we really focused on the process of writing. And where we really targeted it with the AI is that actionable feedback in our TDEC paragraphs. We looked at the statewide testing. We've looked at our kids' writing and the NWA scores. And we know that we needed to focus on actionable process feedback and making sure that then throughout that the product is there, right? One of my favorite things that I have in my classroom right now is process is always greater than the product. And that is so, so important, right? I literally every day, you could ask a bunch of my students, I'm like, the process, the process, the process, the process. I know if you're a 76ers fan, back in the day, Joel Embiid used to say, trust the process, right? But that's so, so important. And if we can get these kids to gain through this process and this effort, their writing will exponentially grow. And then, like Mr. Flynn talked about, that actionable feedback in a timely manner that we've never had as teachers in the past, it's going to be evident. And I mean, Aviana, I wanted her to talk to this, but she created a research that I mean, the levels of thinking, right? We now can have research projects, go through it, and her DAT will help students synthesize their research. I mean, on all different levels, on all different learners. And I know I'm speaking too much, Mr. Gavin, I'm sorry, but I was one of the students that had a hard time comprehending. I literally used my teachers in this school to gain their information, right? To go through the process. I was a social learner. But now you have students looking out for other students, using these DATs to help them through the process. It's key, Ms. Downing. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Go for it.
If I could just add also quickly, sorry, Mr. Gavin. I understand the concern of the writing, right? But in Cadoyo, as was spoken to, we can control what the kids can and can't do. We have guardrails, right? So it's helping them in the process, but it's not going to create the product for them. We won't allow it. We are prompting it to say no. And as was spoken to, the students, being the greatest teachers, we challenge them to break our DATs. Because then we learn how we need to reprogram it and how they got around it to maybe write that paragraph the one time. But we learn from that, and then we re-engineer and we get out ahead of it. So that synergy of teacher-student creation, too, is something that I've experienced before, but it's just exploding now through this process.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and to your point, this is an anthropological process, right? We went from cave drawings to scrolls to,
yes.
right?
And
the
what got
printing
me,
press.
Mr. Gavin, at our very first meeting, when could have been speaking Mandarin to me. I had no idea what he was talking about. He said one line to me. He said, a scalpel in the hand of the right person is a very powerful tool, but in the hand of a wrong person, it's very dangerous. We need to make sure these kids are using it correctly. And that's been at the forefront of this whole pilot. So thank you.
Good, thank you. The only other question I had was I liked the comments about personalized learning, right? Whether it's a student making your own tutor, making your own, chat, making your own DAT. How can we continue to grow that idea of, because we do know that, as you pointed out, students have different learning styles. So how can we tailor our instruction and maybe preview and review with using these tools?
Would you like to respond?
If you, now or in the future?
In our inquiry class, we had a gentleman, severe anxiety, very, very smart kid, but constantly questioning himself, questioning everything, which is what our inquiry class is all about, right? But it goes to a level where it inhibits him. He created a DAT and engineered a DAT that simply gave him confidence. He asked it questions, he prompted it where it would be encouraging, tell him it's okay, take a deep breath, to just speak to one, in one level of that. We, as teachers, can take any text, any video, any information, change the Lexile level, get them to see it visually through the Notebook LM. They're hearing it, they're seeing it, they're creating things, they're using, fine motor skills. To the multiple intelligences, it's a home run. To different ability levels and cognitive levels, it's a home run. To different creative styles, it's a home run. And I was a skeptic, and here I am.
Right, right.
So, yeah, again,
no, that's
thank
really
you.
helpful to think about. Thank you.
Yes.
And I like the multi-sensory approach too, right?
Yeah.
It meets everybody's needs.
Great.
I could talk about it all night. I will pass it on. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And first, your passion, like Mrs. Barry said, it's so evident, like top to bottom. And that's, first and foremost, that's what kids in a classroom connect to. So you could be teaching Latin, or you could be teaching, prompt engineering, or you could be teaching gym. You could be, if you're not having that personal connection, and that's kind of what gives me a little bit of faith, as scary as some of this is. Like, we're still all human, so we're going to need those points of connection even more. And I kind of feel like this is perhaps even a tool to aid in that in a circumvented kind of way, because listen, I know when I was teaching, it was so much about the content and getting through it all, and even my time, like to put together a lesson plan and cull all the documents and then figure out what I'm doing with it. It was so labor intensive. And if this takes away some of the labor intensive side of things, but opens time for discussion and connection and sharing thoughts and evaluating, what you're creating, I think that's a bonus that maybe students in the past did not have. All of that said, the one sort of question I'm left with, I feel like this is a necessary skill for every single one of our kids, K to 12. I'm curious, like how many kids are currently in Inquiry 8 and prompt engineering at the high school?
As of right now, we have, it's an odd and even schedule, so it's an every other day.
Okay.
We have a total of 15. In each class, we have about seven each. But again, I can't speak enough to it, but it's just this fundamental, and we have all ranges of learners, all ranges. And like Mr. Flynn said, we have these learners who they won't do well in a normal classroom, but they just are finding ways of seeing this class in a new way and figuring out to be problem solvers. So it's incredible. There's every day I walk out, I look at Flynn, I go, whoa. And Mr. Gavin knows this, my hair is like one way or the other because I'm literally having freak out moments. Yeah, freak out. Yeah.
The middle button. Got it. So in the prompt engineering class, we currently have 10 students this year. It's a half-year class. I have a wide range of grades. So I have some freshmen, I have some sophomore, I have some juniors, and some seniors. So it's an interesting dynamic because we can see kind of the kids that are in the IB program, and they're applying what they're seeing in their IB program to their DATs and their agents as well. And then kind of like the freshmen are working with them and picking up these ideas from them and being able to implement things they haven't even seen yet into their agent. And it is refreshing to kind of see that because they're looking at what they know. And right now, like we're working on a research project, and I'm just saying pick a topic, any topic. And a lot of the kids are sitting here choosing these crazy things. I'm like, I know nothing about it. So they're getting to use it to explore, and they're kind of coming to me to kind of like to recognize like the teachers aren't going away. Like we're still needed to be there because they're coming to me going like, yes, this is helping me kind of get some material, but I don't know like how to work with it and how can I work with the data a little bit better or refine it to get what I want out of it in a clearer and more concise way. So it's nice to see the dynamic.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I just wanted to add to, I mean, at the high school level, it's kind of funny because we were hit by this in a lot of ways, like Ms. Downing, where you think to, how do we combat cheating? You know, and is it doing the work for the kids? And our teachers are busy preparing their kids for IB exams and Regents exams. But when I went to the Kid OYO training on the DAT to see what it could do, there were teachers from other departments as well from the high school. I know the social studies teachers latched onto it, and I know that they were developing some tools and resources there. So it is very new, and there are teachers experimenting with it, and it is changing the way that we teach. Like an example I can give, the last time I taught IB art was 2021 when we came back from the pandemic, and there was no ChatGPT. And my art kids need all of their class time to make their art, so all the writing stuff is usually part of their homework that I do. And then this year I gave them their first practice writing assignment to do a formal analysis. 2/3, if not 3/4, I know flat out the kids were in a bind, they used ChatGPT, I got stuff that I know that they didn't write. And my options were, I could come in there full head of steam and be like, you cheated, and it's kind of like, duh, or I can make them a tool and explain how you don't have to just go to cheating. And I think what we see with the elementary school and the middle school and the kids now learning how to use this productively, you talked about like collaboration, the kids are going to start seeing these tools as collaborative. They're partners in thought as opposed to just giving themselves up to the technology. And that's what I find to be really fascinating. So the thing that I shared too, I wouldn't have done the tutor with my AP kids the way that I described, where I said the first 20 minutes, answer it on your own, then go to the tutor, if I didn't already have that experience with my IB kids where I saw they jumped to the shortcut. So the next writing assignment I did with my IB students was like, I'm going to take 40 minutes where they're writing. And we did the writing in class. And everybody at the high school is working on developing different strategies to combat that aspect of it and to move things forward because it is a future that we're all dealing with. So I just want to share that.
Yeah.
So in regards to Notebook LM, the way I'm using it and the way it enhances the kids' note-taking skills, which is writing, and I feel like that's a very important skill, what I take away from a particular topic, is I will take the curriculum that I'm teaching them. I'm only one teacher, okay? And I have a plethora of knowledge on a lot of topics. But this channels, it's closed AI. It's resources that I feel are valuable for the children. So we will watch a podcast in my classroom, just speaking to that, we use other resources. We'll watch a podcast, my students will take notes on that podcast, okay? So some of my students may be outstanding note takers. Some of them need to make those skills a little bit better. So now not only are they learning an enhanced part of our curriculum, pulling from different resources rather than just myself and the resource that the district gives us, they're responsible for their notes. Again, like I said, some students might have outstanding notes, some students may not. Now, at this point, I use the students to teach each other, which is also a valuable thing. And sometimes student-to-student learning is a whole nother level of learning. So the student that had great notes and didn't, now they're learning from each other to bring both levels up. And it kind of brings them up to the same level. And then the assessments that we create, or sorry, that I create, that Notebook LM creates is based on the notes that they took. It does, I do give them a study guide that's created by that too, but your note-taking skills, collaborative, you know, working with other students is their ultimate resource. So the writing is through note-taking. Also working with other students, I find incredibly valuable at an elementary school. It's priceless. So that's just, I was just talking that a little bit of writing, not a little, the writing that we're doing as we're utilizing these resources is incredibly valuable. So
that's amazing. I also think like one of the criticisms of the current culture is kids are on screens, they're not socializing, and so then using this tool to build socialization and learning at the same time is also fantastic. I was on the Code of Conduct Committee too, and the academic dishonesty question came up. That's been a question, I mean, back in the day, how do we catch kids using Cliff Notes? And then there's Turnitin.com. Like that question's never going away, I don't think. I'll keep it quick, but the reason I was asking how many kids are taking these courses, this is probably more for you, Mr. Gavin. I really think we need to think about how to build this, especially if our elementary school kids are coming in with this baseline into 6th grade. We have to really, I think, build a bigger boat that will capture, you know, even if it's an intro in 6th grade, just an intro level, and then you can take this if you're really interested and delve deeper. I just think we should look at that the sooner the better.
I think that's an excellent point. As we're sitting here and watching our 5th graders, we also know that our kindergartners have also had dabbled in it, had some experience. So we know this is going to be part of their lives. There will not live, our kindergartners will not be in a world where there isn't generative AI. Right. So that's really where we are right now. So we've been working this year to try to figure out where we could strategically put it. So we go to, especially on the elementary level, we went to Stellar as a place where this is a place where this can happen and affect large numbers of kids at the same time. We went with social studies in the 8th grade, number one, because I kind of forced them into it, but number two, because they were willing to do it.
Yep.
And they had the foresight to say, how can I use this in the proper way? And so as we continue to learn and learn from our mistakes, we know that kids have the ability or can use this and seed their thinking to a machine. But we want to show them how it's a much more preferable option to work together to make themselves with a more rich learning experience. Right. So there are going to be, more experiments with this. I mean, if we think about it, this came out in November 2022, and we've probably impacted about 1,000 kids already so far. So, and that's really this year, the first year we've really tried it. So I'm cautiously optimistic that we'll be able to do this. I know that the high school has expressed in a wide variety of departments. So we don't just have social studies doing this, we have art. We have, math teachers a little slower, they're getting there, but because AI and math isn't that great, especially on the higher level. So there are different ways that we have to work as the tools keep evolving. Mr. Pelusio's class, I got an email right after he did this for the first time, like his mind was blown. And I went in and happened to go in the next day, and the kids basically turned around and said, I said, did you guys like that? And one of the kids said, and I think this is a positive, that slapped. It was great. So, so in terms of the engagement of the students as a new experience, they got to hear, hey, welcome to Mr. Pelusio's class. They got a chance to hear all these things. And I think we are on the right path on how to integrate this. And I'm very excited for our expansion opportunities, and not just expand in terms of access, but the in-depth types of experiences we can co-create with the kids.
I'm always impressed with our students. You guys did a great job, and of course our impressive teachers. Thank you again for your enthusiasm. The presentation was great. One of the things that I'm really excited about, Mr. Duffy, you think about Stellar and how it's grown, and our days of dot and dash, and how we've grown robotics from there, and informed curriculum around things we've been able to try. So I'm really encouraged about how we're utilizing Stellar, and knowing that engineering and AI and things like this that are, Mr. Gavin always says, preparing students for jobs that we don't even know what they will be in the future. I think it's great that we're starting at the young ages, so I love how you're utilizing Stellar. That being said, we're looking at the little people all the way through, and I like to work backwards too, and I'd love to know if we're looking at trends in higher education and how colleges are utilizing AI as well. As a non-educator, but somebody who works in higher ed administration, and I work with different deans and advisory boards, a lot of the industries now are hosting sessions about AI in different industries, in the workplace, and then that's informing the dean's decisions on how to utilize it within higher education coursework, which I think then should be informing us how we're utilizing it to prepare our students for life, career, college. So love to know if, how we look at those trends, who on the external side we talk to, and how we can kind of keep that trend going.
So I happen to have a college senior and a college sophomore, and their college just announced that they are now infusing AI as a minor into not only the business program, but also in several humanities degrees. So it was a very interesting proposal. So you're 100% dead on that this is something that the colleges are learning to adapt to or try to figure out how it fits in the disciplines that they have. So we are not only, I'm going up to Albany this summer to participate in a statewide design of a conference. And what our goal is to try to invite not only practitioners like we see here tonight, not only students that we see here tonight, but we're also looking to invite workforce people that are telling me what's the use case in finance, what's the use case in medicine, because we know that the use cases are so varied. But we're also looking in higher education. I don't know if people know this, but SUNY Buffalo has a massive, massive grant to help kickstart artificial intelligence in New York. So one of the leading research universities is not just Stanford on the West Coast, it's SUNY Buffalo. So one of the goals that we have is to try to reach out to different professors there, including the head of the department who won the grant, and try to come up with some ways to incorporate this into our state conference. We've reached out. I'm not going to say that they were like, oh yes, we'll do it right now tomorrow, but it is a conversation that we're still continuing to have.
I think it's great. I appreciate it, and I also think it's evident from what we've learned tonight that we are leading this charge. And it makes me really proud of everything we've done here and how we've grown so much over the last few years, how educators who have been here with us for a long time are getting re-energized and excited about something new. And for our new teachers coming in, I'm sure something that they can be part of as well. So that makes me really proud and really happy. I guess from a parent perspective, I would suggest that, like anything else, we teach our parents what's the appropriate use of AI for their students, because what we don't want is we're teaching our students something in school and then our parents are having a fit thinking, you're not supposed to be using AI. What are you doing your homework with AI? Maybe there's a resource we can provide, whether it's on our website or something that says, here are some of the tools that we encourage our students to use in our classrooms at this level or whatever it may be, or this lesson is utilizing. I jotted down a few that you were talking about that truthfully I'd never heard before, but I think that would be a great thing to add for parent resources so that they are part of it as well. Some of us are, our students are definitely smarter than we are. That's just the obvious truth. We could see it here tonight. It makes us proud, but we want to be able to help support our students learn in the way that, and support our teachers in the way that you'd like us to help them learn at home. So that would be my only suggestion, and I think this was fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you. This was a really excellent presentation. I really enjoyed learning about, just AI in general, but the ways that the district is leveraging AI and incorporating it into instruction. I think the most impressive parts of the presentation for me were just learning about how students are interacting with AI and using it to assess validity, like the skills, those inherent skills that we really want kids to have, like the Amelia Earhart presentation, for example, that, our students are expected to have base information about this person that they can then leverage AI to grow their information, but still have the ability to come back and fact check, and then ideate, again, to continue to prompt it, to add it, to grow to it. I think those are all the really great skills. Because the one question or wondering I have is,
mean, I know AI is new. AI in education is new. So my assumption is that there obviously are no standards or larger framework around AI literacies. But to me,
There actually are drafts of some
Yeah.
that are been put out by a number of different organizations, one of which I'm pretty sure Stanford put out like a draft of what AI literacy could look like. Another one is AASA has a which is the American Association of Superintendents. They also have a cohort of people that have been working on this as well. So these are things that are in the mix. Virginia, actually, the state of Virginia has a great whole format and toolkit that I've been looking at to inform our meetings when we sit down together and talk about how to do this. So people have been thinking about it. New York has not thought about it yet, but this is why we're planning that statewide conference. Our goal is to really get people centered around what does this look like 5 years from now, and how do we respond to this and prepare for it at the same time. Because New York, again, we have the opportunity and the resources to be leaders in this field, and I think this is an opportunity for us to kickstart that conversation going into next year.
yeah, that's kind of where my thinking was laying. I feel like anytime you're looking at curriculum, you need a system to house this in. And while it's great that we're doing all of these things, I think my larger concern is, what is the continuum?
Yep.
What are the skills, the competencies, the awarenesses, the knowledge that our kids need K through 12? Have we mapped that out? How are we integrating it, not only just into Stellar, but also genuinely into regular classroom instruction? Because I feel like that's where you're going to get the biggest bang for your buck. So thinking about that, and I think we have great thinkers here who could probably do a lot of great thinking about that for New York State and potentially the country. Because I think, when, again, we think about learning, why are we here? The heart of what we do is cultivating kids to be thinkers and creators. So as we look at AI, as we're looking at all of these things, I think the question always has to be, how is this DAT or this, I don't know these words for AI, I'm sorry, I haven't caught up with this yet, but how is this helping kids learn about themselves as a thinker or a creator? Because my concern is that yes, you can use AI to boost creativity, to boost curiosity. I think it could also silence people's creativity and curiosity. And we know that kids' curiosity peaks at age 4 and then takes a nosedive right down. So those are the things I'm thinking about, or, students thinking about how their ideas might not be as valuable as AI's ideas are. So just building that confidence, the curiosity, and also the screen time part. I had a little bit of a different perspective. Justin, kids are on screens a lot.
Yep.
Making sure that this is a collaborative endeavor and that we don't have kids just speaking with a fake entity.
Well, I think you heard elements of it, right? So
Yeah.
you heard Joe talk a little bit about how the AI becomes a vehicle for student-to-student conversation. So it's a topic that's the kind of model that came accidentally that Joe found worked. So that's something that as we start to build the opportunities for students, we have to build into the model. So when we talk about, and I think your point is really important about competencies and exposure at the same time. So how do we expose it to get the right competency, to align then to the curriculum and to the standards? So all of these things have to be in the mix as we start to plan this. This, I will tell you, was our year of experimentation. And this is how we allowed creativity to bloom and to see where it led. And I will tell you, I meet with these guys, the teachers, once a month. I've visited all of the classes that you've heard about today, and those are my favorite visits. We sat down with Aviana and we blew each other's mind about talking about ethics and about what was that, December, Pat? It was about December. We sat down together and we were talking about all these different things, and her questions, I was like, wow, that's great. And then she was like, wow, that's a cool point. And we went back and forth, and there was not a screen open. There was not a screen open. It was teachers, or me, a superintendent in this case, teachers and students having a conversation, an interactive conversation about a technology to learn it, learn with it, and learn about it, and to learn how to use it the right way. And that for me was I think I came back and I talked to them. I was like, who is that kid? I want to know more about her, now, because that was a great conversation that we had. So, and then when I came into Joe's class, the kids like jumped out of their seats to tell me about it. That was cool, Mr. Gavin. It was awesome. Can we do that again? Can I have Can I have Notebook LM? And I'm like, no, you can't. This is right now for Mr. Pelucio. So these are and Stellar, when I saw the kindergartners write their own story with ChatGPT, their eyes were like bugging out of their heads. It was great. So like these are the conversations that we have, and we're at the beginning of the conversation. I do not think, the thing I only worry about is laying everything out is how fast it's been changing. So we have to not only lay everything out and have the basis that Guy talked about before in terms of we want to make sure it doesn't replace thinking. We want to make sure that our students' data and privacy is protected. And we want to make sure that our students learn when and how to use it. And as Chris said, when not to use it. So all of those are our like pillars for how we want to move forward. And the next component is how do we keep plugging in all those skills?
Oh, that's great. I appreciate it. And I really would like to thank our faculty. You know, I think I was talked about this with music where, yeah, we'll give you a big round of applause. You know, we talk about the competencies that we hope to instill in our children, one being a risk taker and being able to step into something that feels very uncomfortable, embrace it and move forward. So I really have to thank you for trying something new, for embracing it and really running with it and just showing our kids that anything is possible. So thank you.
Yeah, agreed. I think this very well could be my favorite presentation yet. So thank you all. Thank you so much to our students again for being here and for sitting through all of our questions. We're so excited to have you come.
Thank you for allowing us to celebrate our students and our faculty.
Thank you.
Good night.
I know we ran late.
Yeah.
Could we get a picture with the kids, Mr. Gavin?
Sure,
Of
absolutely.
course we can.
Madam
We would
President,
love to
thank you.
have
And the teachers too. Always thinking about pictures. And we can actually open up the doors a little bit too, so get some air, please. So. Are you ready? Okay.
Okay, turning to our budget hearing. Mr. Gavin, we have our proposed 2025-2026 budget this evening.
You are correct, Madam President. We've asked Ms. Rehack to go over, this is now our 5th presentation on all components of the budget, and we've asked Ms. Rehack to quickly go through the components of the budget, and of course we can, I didn't mean quickly because we just did an hour, but like to go over thoroughly our budget presentation and of course, you know, answer any questions that the board may have.
Thank you. So we've been doing this now, I guess, since about October, so most of the year. My predecessor, Mr. Bartels, started this back then, and I picked it up in January. But so here we are now, May 8th, at the formal budget hearing, and next we have the annual election and budget vote in a few weeks on May 20th. So there have been no changes from the last presentation. The last time we met as the budget was approved by the board for voter consideration. And where we have the budget right now is at a 1.63% increase for budget to budget, which is $139,889,187, and the tax levy increase at 2.6%, which is under our tax cap, which is 2.62%. The Long Island average tax increase is also about 2.62%, so we're right in line with the Long Island average. This budget does include facility improvements at all schools, expanded offerings in school and after school. Also, we have our budget statement, supplementary information, and all our previous budget presentations available on the district website. So our budget does include a transfer to capital for $1.8 million in projects. That's office and bathroom renovations, floor, ceiling, and lighting replacements, HVAC repairs and upgrades, plumbing repairs and upgrades, masonry repairs, site work including pavement, curb, asphalt, landscaping, and playground upgrades, and continuing our flexible furniture upgrades district-wide. This budget also has expanded offerings in school and after school, our college connection classes with Malloy and Hofstra for financial investments and computational engineering. We have added AP Cybersecurity and AP Human Geography, Unified Theater and Unified Bowling, IB Dance, Fashion Marketing, Sports Marketing, Fashion Design, and a varsity field hockey team. So we recently prepared our 6-day budget notice that was brought to the post office today, and everyone should be receiving them in their homes within the next week. Within that budget notice, it is broken down based on these three-part budget components. So this will match exactly what you get in your homes. It'll look like this. And the breakdown of our administrative component, our academic program component, and our capital component. As you can see, the administrative component is 8.8%, the academic program is 78.77%, and the capital component is 12.43% of our overall budget. We have a $2.2 million increase from last year, and that's 1.63%. Here's just a breakdown of the items included in the different components. For example, the administrative component includes central administration, auditing, legal, records management, insurance, curriculum development, building supervision. You have the academic program, which has general special ed, ELL, pupil personnel services. We have athletics, transportation, to name a few. And the capital budget, which is our operations and maintenance of plant, security, our capital projects, and our debt service. And then employee benefits is allocated to all of these three components based on the related employee benefits are allocated to each part of these components. I just wanted to give a state aid update too. Hot off the press, Governor Kathy Hochul did announce an agreement has been reached with the legislative leaders on the 2026 budget. The state aids were released last night, and there have been no changes to the Rockville Center state aid from the budgeted amounts. So we are expected to get an increase of 2% in foundation aid, which is the state minimum. Expense-based aids have not changed since the February runs as well, so what we have in our budget is accurate, and even though we couldn't change it at this point, there really would be no impact from this budget going through. Some of the budgetary factors, and I know we've discussed this in previous months, but just to reiterate, the health insurance premium increase, as we know, is unknown at this time, but it has been high over the past few years. Over the last 5 years, we've had an overall 36% increase, an average of 7.2, and our highest increase was 15.2%. So for this year, for budget purposes, the rates change in January. They're on a calendar year, so we have budgeted a 10% increase for half of the year starting in January. For transportation expense, I know Mr. Gavin touched upon a lot of this in his superintendent's report, but that is another big increase in our budget. We extend several contracts based on CPI, estimated at 4%. We also have additional routes for out-of-district placements, and we did get a 30% increase from BOCES. As Mr. Gavin mentioned, we've been doing a lot to mitigate some of those increases, like looking at our BOCES transportation. We are creating a subcommittee with our Southwest Quad, and we are analyzing our routes for potential consolidations. We also have our general liability insurance premiums, which we're expecting a 15% increase from NYSER. We have an increase in out-of-district placements, so students requiring special schools. We also have just general inflation and increased costs that everyone is seeing in supplies and services. Lastly, we do have a decline in our out-of-district tuition students in our district special ed programs. So as we see across the board, rise in needs in students, a lot of districts are also creating their own programs now because it's too costly to send some of these students out. So it decreased partly because of that. And also we're seeing some of our core kids graduate out. So that program's decreasing in enrollment as well. So how does the district balance the budget with all these increased costs and still maintain all our programs, which is something we've done in this budget. We have maintained all our programs. But we analyze all our costs always, but specifically this year we did analyze staffing, and we look to make reductions where possible while still maintaining those programs in this budget. So included in the 25-26 budget, the district it will not replace 6 retiring teachers. The district has also accounted for breakage in salary from all other retiring teachers. We will not replace 1 administrator, the deputy superintendent, who's not replaceable. And the district is also abolishing another administrator position, the director of student services. So these are some of the major changes the district has made to balance the budget this year as things are tighter with all these increased costs. So what happens if the budget fails? If the proposed budget is defeated, the Board of Education can do one of 2 things. They can resubmit the defeated budget or a revised budget for the June revote day. If the resubmitted budget is then defeated, the board must adopt a contingent budget. Or the district can forego a revote and adopt a contingent budget immediately without submitting a budget for the June revote day. A contingent budget would include a reduction of $2.77 million in expenditures, including but not limited to equipment, which includes instructional IT equipment, office equipment, athletic equipment, buildings and grounds equipment. It also would eliminate any budgetary capital projects that we had planned for, that $1.8 million, and the community use of buildings and grounds, to name a few. It's really, you're only allowed the ordinary and necessary expenditures. So there are a bunch of additional resources that people can look to for the budget. We have our budget brochure. This was mailed out last week, so people are probably already starting to receive it. I know we have some outside as well on the table. The budget notice, which, as I said, was just delivered to the post office today, and people should start receiving it next week. We have other things available on the website as well. Our budget statement, the explanation of budget, which there's a lot of information in here. This is all on the website as well. All our previous presentations and voting information. So next we have the budget vote on Tuesday, May 20th from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. at Southside High School in the main gym. We have the Board of Education trustee election with 1 seat open at large. And if someone's not registered to vote, you can do so at the district office through May 15th. Any absentee ballots or early voter ballots must be received by the district clerk by 5 p.m. on the day of the vote, Tuesday, May 20th. For those ballots, you must apply for them in advance at least 7 days. And we also have the Rockwell Center Public Library budget vote. That's Proposition 2 on the ballot, and the Library Board trustee election, where there are 2 seats at large. And that is everything I have.
Thank you so much, Ms. Mihak. It bears repeating that you've done a phenomenal job, not just in helping us prepare this, but explaining it to us and the community. So thank you very much. Comments or questions from board members?
I had a question on the, excuse me, the capital projects in terms of timing. I know we've got some brickwork and some HVAC repairs and upgrades. Are there going to be inconveniences at any of our buildings, or is this something that we can do while school's out?
So most of these projects will be done while school's out in the summer. Of course, we do have summer programs going on, so we'll schedule them accordingly around those times. Also look at where our programs are and where the bigger projects are so that we can get them done in the summer. So we should be good for the summer with the planning we've done.
Thank you.
No questions from me tonight.
No questions, just a comment. It's been masterful working with you and having you present. I think you have broken it down really, really well for everybody. And what I'm so impressed with as a whole for our district is that we are faced with challenges, but we always overcome them. And instead of making cuts, we have repurposed and still found a way to grow. So I really appreciate that. And our students appreciate it. So, and you've just done a great job. Thank you so much.
Thanks. I don't have any questions, just a similar comment. Thank you for all of the work, and thank you for putting together what I think is an excellent budget in very, very difficult times.
Thank you.
Thank you again. At this time, we will have opportunity for visitors on the proposed budget only.
Jeff Greenfield, citizen taxpayer. On the proposed budget, I want to thank you for answering my question on foundation aid and reassuring us that they came through after waiting, 45, 50 days. The transportation increase, I'm sorry I came in a little late. I didn't know you were going to address that, Mr. Gavin, early on. So it's mainly BOCES. I saw its contract. I had a meeting with, chance meeting with, at a Malloy meeting, my fellow board member from our transportation company. He heard about my remarks. He says, I'm only 4.51% increase.
Yeah. So most of our contracts are extended at CPI, which
Yes.
is roughly between 4. We don't have CPI yet. It comes out in May. So, of course, when we're doing our budgets, we don't have that information yet, but we estimate, and it was roughly between 4 and 4.5% when I last checked. But we also have more routes. So, as I mentioned, we do have more.
I heard you're going to consolidate and look.
Well, more routes, yes. So we're looking right now at ridership. All the principals have been gathering information for me and sending it to my office so we can see how many students we have on routes. We will look at that. One of the things that we have to consider is if we do consolidate a bus, yes, we can probably save $100,000 to $150,000 on that bus. We'll have to look at, is there enough room on the other buses to consolidate? And it will also obviously have more kids on it. There'll be more stops, and the ride time will increase for students. So those are the things we'll have to discuss and factor in when looking at consolidations. But that is something we're actively gathering the information for now to look at. And then also we're looking at different ways we can go out to bid with other districts and partnering with other districts
Good.
and looking at how we can do that. I've joined a subcommittee with the Southwest Quad to look at that for our next bid that goes
I've been
out.
talking about that for years here.
Mm-hmm. And BOCES did go up 30%.
How does BOCES explain that?
So, well, because if their contract didn't extend at CPI and they told them they won't extend and you have to go out to bid, these are the increases that districts are experiencing on when they go out to bid. What they're, in my previous district, I went out to bid and we had a 45% increase. That's what we're seeing. It ranges from 30 to 45%. It could have to do with the zero emission busing mandate that's coming down the pike and starting to plan for that. The providers are doing that. But so that's what's driving some of the increases. So if you don't get extended, and even 4 to 4.5% is a lot when you're looking at tax levy increases of 2 to 3% and state aid increases of 2%, when your revenue is pretty consistently increasing between 2 and 3%, and these large expenses are coming in at anywhere from 5 to 15% when you look at insurances, transportation, things like that, it's difficult. And so even 4 to 4.5% on CPI is a lot for districts. But yes, if they won't extend and we have to go out to bid, we are looking at very large increases. So it's not really BOCES, it is they had to go out to bid, they didn't have a contract anymore, and then those costs our students take those buses to go to BOCES. So we end up with them. But we did look at some of our runs to BOCES, and some of them we repurposed in-house, whereas we were paying per student on a bus. So we looked at that and said, you know what, I can go contract for my own bus and pay for the full bus. And we did generate about $150,000 to $200,000 savings in doing that after this increase. So we did try and mitigate those costs as we
You're
could.
a quick study in a short time here, and I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Debt service. I always ask that. I didn't ask at the last meeting. I didn't see where. I didn't go into all the detail. Where do we stand with debt service? Are we running off on some of the earlier bond issues?
No, we still have a while left on our bonds. I believe it expires It's not soon. I want to say it's in another 15 years on our bond. I'll have to double check that, but it's not soon. I
Not
knew I
soon.
had a lot of time. Yeah.
You brought up about if the budget fails. I want to tell you, in 50 years here, the budget only failed once. And it's because the board politically miscalculated the community. And then it got passed afterwards. We have a history of passing budgets here. And while I'm citizen taxpayer in the neighboring district of Lynbrook, their brochure is not as colorful as ours, but I'm going to give you a sample because they put something here that I like, percentage increase. Makes it very simple. And I can't stay around for the other presentation, but the AI was very interesting. On a budget point here, maybe you can put in, they don't have a book yet, AI for Dummies, and maybe you could have an adult ed course for AI so we could understand it better. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Greenfield. You can leave the brochure with Mrs. Celebrity. Thank you. Anybody else on the budget? Okay, turning to items for discussion, policies. Currently at stage 1, we have 5422, use of credit cards. Use of district credit cards.
Yeah, we've been looking through financial related policies. Ms. Rehak has helped us update some of the language, looking at the spending limits for a district credit card. These are typically used for travel expenses where we would need to book students for a trip if they were to make, for example, DECA, states, nationals, those sorts of things where a credit card is required.
Okay, okay to move this? Thank you. Also at stage 1 this evening, we have 5511, fund balance and reserves.
Yeah, similarly, yeah, updating language, making sure that it is reflective of our practice and in compliance.
Okay, thank you. Okay to move this?
Yep.
Currently at stage 2, we have 5632, naming new facilities.
No changes.
Okay to move this?
Yep.
5640, smoking tobacco use.
Take this one.
I'm going to actually ask to hold this only because some...
Put your mic on.
Sorry. There were some revisions that were made since the last time that we met, and we have to just sort out, make sure it's all, the language is correct, so.
That's fine.
We could just hold it for till
Yep,
next time?
Mrs. Celebrity, you'll note that, please? Okay, thank you. Currently at stage 3, we have 5410, purchasing. Okay to move this for approval?
Yes, this one's good, yep.
5413, procurement of uniform grant guidance for federal awards.
This was a couple of language changes, so I think we're going to hold on this
We're
one.
going to hold
Yeah,
this.
just to make sure we got it right before we go forward.
Got it. 5421, procurement of goods and services.
This one's good.
That one's good.
Good to move for approval at the next meeting.
Yes,
5430, contracts for services and materials.
good to go.
Yep,
All right, no changes.
Great. 5510, accounting of funds.
that one's good
Same,
as well.
yes, no
Yeah.
changes,
Okay.
that's good.
And 5530, petty cash funds and cash in school buildings.
Also
Also
good.
Okay to move.
Yep.
Thank you. Opportunity for superintendent, Mr. Gavin.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm pleased to report on some outstanding achievements of our students in recent science competitions. Our students continue to excel and gain recognition in prestigious events. Christian Chan achieved first place in general biology at the Research Association WAC Fair, a competition that brings together hundreds of students from across Long Island to present their research projects to esteemed judges. The WAC Invitational Science Fair, sponsored by the WAC Lighting Foundation, provides a platform for students to explore diverse scientific fields from environmental science to medicine. Furthermore, Sadie Salal earned a gold medal at the AXO competition on Long Island and will advance to the regional finals. AXO, the Afro Academic, Cultural, Technological, Scientific Olympics, is a year-long achievement program sponsored by the NAACP that recognizes and celebrates the academic and artistic achievements of African-American high school students. Elena Mignorance has also distinguished herself at the Long Island Science Congress, receiving one of the top awards with the specific award to be announced on June 13th. The Long Island Science Congress is a significant regional event that showcases science research from Nassau and Suffolk counties. These successes highlight the dedication and talent of our students, the commitment of our teachers, and the strength of our science program as a whole. And that's my report.
Thank you. Opportunity for board members. Mrs. Messier.
Thank you. I'd like just to congratulate our students, specifically our science research students and our students who participated in the DECA Nationals. Looking forward to the upcoming musical concerts at the elementary, middle, and high schools. And good luck to our athletes as they finish their season and move into playoffs. Again, I would just like to thank Mrs. Rehak for the work that she did on the budget, joining us mid-cycle, learning quickly, and again, putting together a budget that really, I think, boosts what we have to offer and maintains everything that's been going on. So thank you. And to the community, please don't forget to vote. May 20th, your voice matters. So please come out and vote. Thanks.
Thank you. Mrs. Hackett.
We were joking earlier that it's May-cember, so welcome to it. We're like in the thick of it, and we're waiting for the finish line. So thank you, Mrs. Rehak. This has been an amazing experience and getting us through this season. It's always hard, and we hope you take a vacation when this is over. Our students are excelling in so many areas, as we heard tonight. Our Connor in music, and our science students, our athletes, our business students. Our students in AI, I'm really just impressed with who we are as a district and what we've done. So thank you to all of you on the dais for how you make this place very special. Very quick anecdote at work today, met a CEO who's just a phenomenal man and has turned over a company, doubled their stock price, and he was just this impressive person. And I asked him what advice he would give to a young person now and who he would look for to hire. And he said they need to have three things. They need to be fearless, curious, and have great character. And when I think about who we are as a district, that's what we embrace and embody, and it starts with our leadership. And so thank you, Mr. Gavin, but these are the students we're raising. And so the proof is positive that we're raising the students that will be hireable, coachable, successful, and happy. And so when I heard that today, it really just brought it home for me about all that we do up here, because we all are different people, but we all share a love for education and for our students. So just that quick anecdote really brought it back for me. So thanks for everything, and good luck to everybody in your concerts and your IB tests, and we'll see you in June again before we wish you well for the summer.
Thank you. Mrs. Gruner.
Thank you as well to Mrs. Rehak, and also I'm having trouble tonight, obviously. Thank you, Mrs. Rehak. Also, Mrs. Dalton, I went to the wellness walk. Was it just this past weekend? It feels like it was longer than that, but it was a great event, really buzzing with activity, and I know a lot went on behind the scenes to make it work, so thank you for that. I also was able to go to the Digital Dilemma presentation, which I believe also was care of Mrs. Dalton, and it was great to I feel like it was a great first step into addressing a lot of issues that have been simmering beneath the surface. So if you didn't get a chance to see it, maybe try to find someone who was there. I don't know if I don't think it was recorded, was it? It was. So maybe you could see it online. She brought up a lot of really just like points that I felt like were real and that relatable. So thank you for that. And then just two other things upcoming I wanted to just remind people about. Our athletic department is holding the final installment of their strength and conditioning presentation. I think this is the third and final one on May 12th. So I appreciate that we've started offering that to our athletes and our students. And I also happened to be in town at the Backyard Players store that I am blanking on the name of. Front Porch Market, thank you. And notice that they are having a fundraising walkathon on May 30th. For anyone who doesn't know, the Backyard Players is a great partner that helps with our center stage and a lot of our students in our community. So if you're available just for a couple hours on May 30th, they could really use your support, and it would benefit a lot of people. So I just wanted to put that out there. And that's it for me. Thanks.
Thank you. Dr. Downing?
Thank you. I wanted to thank again our students and teachers who presented tonight. I think it's so important to be mindful about our use of technology as a resource and not as a replacement. And I also wanted to report into the board that I attended a legal policy seminar yesterday covering 2 new important initiatives that we'll be discussing, adding a student board member to our Board of Education, and then also thinking through what our new policy will be on cell phone usage once we get more specific language from New York State. More to come on those 2. Congrats to our spring athletes and all of the winners in science, business, drama. The student art show at the library is phenomenal. I encourage everyone to stop in. It was great to see the opening show the other day. Artwork is throughout the building, upstairs and down. Big thanks to our art teachers for facilitating this for all of our students. And they were so cute showing off their artwork to their parents and grandparents and friends and neighbors. And also downstairs, I learned that the library has a new media literacy lab. So that could be another partnership for us as we look to infuse learning and instruction with technology. Such a great concert at Riverside earlier this week, and good luck to the rest of our student musicians and chorus performers. Break a leg to the middle schoolers involved in their spring musical. I wanted to also thank the Ed Foundation for a wonderful gala that really just raises money that goes directly back into our schools and helps us get these extra items in our school budget, which is tough as things get tighter. So on that note, thank you also to Ms. Rehak for your work, and yes, please remember to come out and vote on May 20th.
Thank you. Congratulations to Connor, Christian, Sadie, and Alina, and thank you again to the PTA units for hosting us for our budget roadshows this month, and don't forget to vote. Opportunity for visitors. The public is reminded to address questions or remarks to the board through its president. It's requested to refrain from making any direct references to students or staff members that could be considered critical of their performance or their character. Such references to individual students or staff members are inappropriate in a public forum and should instead be conducted in private conversation with appropriate members of the staff. The public is asked to state their name and address and to please limit their comments to 3 minutes.
Oh, see, it's not just you, Mrs. Gruner. Good evening, everybody. My name is Keith Eckert. I'm a teacher at Riverside. I have a couple of colleagues here as well. We just wanted to share a couple of the great things happening at Riverside. Before I jump into that, just a quick shameless plug while we're talking about AI. Mr. Duggan is running a phenomenal AI Invaders course during our summer program for 3rd through 8th graders. So if anybody wants to learn about more AI, I highly recommend that. But back to Riverside, I'd just like to say there's a nice buzz in the air at Riverside as our learners of all ages have dived into exciting projects and hands-on experiences this spring. In kindergarten, our youngest scholars are marveling at the wonders of nature. They're carefully observing ladybugs as they progress through their life cycles. An up-close science lesson sparks both curiosity and awe. But the real excitement is the countdown to the arrival of the baby chicks. Alongside these scientific explorations, students are also practicing data collection and interpretation, with each child forming and investigating their own research question, becoming true scientists. Our first graders are discovering the world around them by learning about communities. In collaboration with our Stellar program, they're building their very own communities, one creative building at a time. These learners are also blossoming into confident readers, mastering phonics, and learning to decode multisyllabic words, which is a little harder to say than you think. In 2nd grade, students are deepening their reading skills through small group discussions and shared stories. They're mastering measurement in math, carefully using inches and centimeters to explore length and width. These learners are not only solving problems, but also talking about math, building a strong foundation both in computation and communication. Our 3rd graders are exploring interconnectedness, how people, inventions, and ideas shape the world around us. Through reading and writing, they're examining how habitats, economic systems, and innovations affect communities near and far. In math, they're strengthening their strategies for addition and subtraction while learning to articulate their mathematical thinking with clarity and confidence. Our 4th graders have been diving into the engaging novel Regarding the Fountain by Kate Clicey. Inspired by the story, they're designing models for a brand new school, an imaginative hands-on project that encourages innovation, problem solving, and critical thinking. It's a powerful way for us to connect literature to the real world and impacting change. And then finally, our leaders of the school, our 5th graders, are engaging in a meaningful global connection. Inspired by the novel, A Long Walk to Water, they launched a letter writing campaign with a school in Uganda with the helpful support of Delia Garrity, Taylor Hansman, and the Southside High School Help Club. Students learned about refugee life and global citizenship. They recently received heartfelt letters back from Ugandan peers and are eager to continue learning from this cultural exchange. This amazing work, though, it does not just end with the classroom teachers, but it extends into our specials. In FLES, they are working on numbers from 1 to 100 in first grade. In second grade, they're talking about tastes and phrases while reviewing fruits and vegetables. Third graders are having a cultural study of El Salvador. Fourth graders and fifth graders are both working with verb conjugation. In physical education, the students have finished their fitness test and are gearing up for the most anticipated event of the year, which is Field Day on June 12th. The team has been hard at work planning new games and surprises to make this year's event the best one yet. And then finally, during Stellar, the lessons are pushing creativity and curiosity across all grade levels. Mr. Sagnabini has his third graders sculpting 3D clay models of the ladybug life cycle. First graders are working with the VEX 123 robotics unit and constructing buildings for their community projects. Second graders are making slime, blending fun with science as they explore different states of matter. And our third graders just finished a project on duck adaptations where they designed posters that illustrate life cycles and animal traits. Our fourth graders wrapped up their VEX Go robotics kit and are now exploring artificial intelligence through Kidoyo coding. Our fifth graders are preparing for Commerce Plaza trips by learning about money management, checking accounts, debit cards, job applications, and financial planning. At Riverside, we feel that every hallway tells the story of exploration, collaboration, and imagination. From the life cycle of a ladybug to global pen pals in Uganda, our students are embracing the joys of learning and growing in every way. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Riverside.
Sorry, I did it. Got it. Shannon Lutz, 60 William Street, Rockwell Center. With elections and budget discussions upon us, I feel it's critical to speak up about a few fundamental concerns that continue to be overlooked, specifically at the elementary level. This district invests heavily in what this board deems important, and I am sincerely hoping that after hearing this, you will come to see the absence of the following as a significant oversight. First, where is the writing program? As a teacher with 12 years experience in New York City public schools, I find it truly astounding that Rockwell Center has no comprehensive district-wide writing curriculum in place at the elementary level. This is a foundational component of education. Yes, our district has many strengths. That's part of why my family moved here 8 years ago, but this absence is a glaring weakness. Let me be clear, this is not a critique of the teachers. My son has been fortunate to have truly excellent educators. His current teacher, in my opinion, is a literacy expert, and because of her, he is doing meaningful, research-based writing and work, but that's not a system, that's luck. What about next year? Will his teacher have the same expertise and commitment to writing? I pray so. But that's not how a strong school district should operate. Without a program, we rely on chance, not planning. That's not good enough. Second, and perhaps more concerning, is a lack of structured enrichment programming for high-achieving elementary students. This district rightfully prioritizes support for struggling learners, and I applaud that. But where is the balance? Where is the programming for those who need more, who are ready for more? I'm aware of the win period. It's a thoughtful component of the day, but it's not enough. It does not qualify as a true enrichment program. Other districts in our area have gifted and talented programs with clear criteria. Why don't we? The argument I often hear is every parent would want their child in, so it's easier to avoid the conversation. That's unacceptable. Set standards, be transparent, serve all learners, not just those below grade level. I considered potentially IQ testing my son to skip a grade after kindergarten. Academically, he was far ahead. Socially, he would have been just fine, but we chose not to because being with his friends mattered. I question that decision often. And lastly, why is the district still using NWEA when programs like iReady offer adaptive, individualized instruction? iReady meets students exactly where they are. If students in 5th grade level geometry, the program teaches at that level. If they need support in 3rd grade measurement and data or 4th grade reading comprehension, it adjusts. It personalizes the learning journey in a way NWEA does not. Why aren't we investing in that? I understand budgets have constraints, but with the funding and resources available in Rockwell Center, you're telling us year after year what you value by where your money goes. And it's not going toward a writing curriculum, it's not going toward elementary enrichment, and it's not going toward modern adaptive tools that help our students grow at the elementary level. Just so you know, I have voted in favor of every school budget that's been put forth since moving here. I believe in strong schools, but I am asking urgently and sincerely that you turn your attention to the elementary level. While I attend board meetings, I hear a lot about the middle school and high school, but there are 4 elementary schools here. Where is the long-term vision for them? Parents deserve to know what's missing. Many don't, and I don't blame them. Just as I know little about construction of the stock market, many parents understandably don't know the inner workings of education. But that doesn't mean they shouldn't be informed or that those conversations shouldn't happen publicly. They must. This isn't just out of frustration, it's a concern and a deep professional concern. It's time something changes.
Thank you. Mr. Gavin, we have an acceptance of a gift this evening.
We do. We have a gift of an outdoor bleacher from the Wilson PTA. They did it last year, and they're complimenting it with a second one this year, so we are eager to accept it. I know that Mr. Duffy really wants his second bleacher. So.
Thank you, Wilson PTA. Can I have a motion to accept the gift?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. May I have a motion to approve items for action 01 through, sorry? R14.
So moved.
Second? Second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening. Our next meeting is May 29th.